It's not just mobile. I mean, maybe we mentioned mobile a couple times.
But see, the thing is, that's included in these numbers, but most of the deals were still mobile.
Okay, cool.
So most of the deals were.
As far as console, just to kind of give you my take on it, and then you can follow up with more questions. You know, AAA console game is going to cost a minimum of maybe $50 million. A team of 150 people for 4 years, and you're asking an investor to roll the dice on $50 million. It's not going to happen. Investors just don't put money into that. So, but if you've got a AAA, you know, mobile game, maybe $1 million. You know,
if you have the traction. So there's only two things on that as follow up. The one investment in console was actually by Sony.
That's funny.
Right?
Did you have a follow up?
And then the second thing is the only investor that actually invests pre-product is a gentleman who used to be at EA and now runs a big fund. And he's done only 2 or 3 investments in the last few years. Big ones, but those were pre-product. So those were a hardcore mobile games, console production quality. You need $10 million to make it.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of in that boat with like making a game kind of in this similar space of like Hawking, right? So think of like mid to hardcore, free to play, PC, prototype ready, and it's like, do we go after Angel? Do we have to go after Venture, or do we just go talk to one of the publishers out there like Meteor or IGP, right?
So those numbers I gave earlier apply to online, Steam, everything. So when I said about $1 per active user is how much you can raise, I mean really rough estimate. That's pretty accurate across all systems, not just mobile.
There's one venture guy who would come in pre-product. And why don't we find out a bit more what you do, and then we'll see if that makes sense.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean.
But that's one bet, right? When you're raising money, you want to have a lot of options of people to raise for. You want to be the prize, and you want to have a lot of people you can work with. But if you have only one option, fuck, man.
So your slide, can you go back to your slide that showed the curve? The scale, efficiency. So, how much, or who are you going to talk to? Well, if you're at these, it's going to be an angel, right? If you reach this stage, it's going to be a VC. So who do you talk to? Which stage are you at? Here, right?
Seems like angel, yeah.
So a VC, they'll listen to you, but they're going to steal your idea, or they're going to, but they're not going to invest in you. A VC is going to put in 1 to 10 million or more.
So do you feel like the venture is synonymous with like publisher? You could just swap it out.
No. Okay. This is outside of the publishing market and landscape. Oh my God, no.
I'm just saying, like that's where we're at. So it's like these are the choices we have on the table, and publishers on a different arc completely.
Do you ever want to exit your business? Jim, let me take this.
Not really. No.
Okay, then go work with a publisher.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. That's one qualifier. Another one I would say is publishers care about the title and the success of that title, and whether that title makes it. Your studio could be failing, and they don't give a shit. An investor cares about the health of your company and whether you're surviving as a company and moving forward and growing, but they may not care about that title. Where's your heart? Is your heart in that title? Or is your heart in the company's success? And now, whether they'll invest is whether they're going to do. Whether you're going to go for an exit, maybe there's a possibility about talking to them for a revenue share or something, but
generally, if you're going to an investor who's done it before, right, and is actually in it for the exit, they're in it, they make their money when you exit for a big amount of money, right, and more than what has been invested in over the years, right? So if you're never going to go for an exit, you were immediately off the table for a lot of venture guys. Now a lot of seed guys who just happen to be like, I'm a cool, I just like games, I've done games before, this is how I made my money. If you give me some kind of revenue share dividend, okay, maybe. But the number of people who do that in this group is very, very small as well.
Yeah. So whether you're going to exit determines who you're going to talk to, but then also. I like to be heard. But then additionally...
But this is my talk. We're having your talk later. Go.
Additionally, whether you...
All right, any other questions, guys? Casey, I think you guys should connect offline.
Sounds great.
Any other questions?
You answered my question, which was follow up from him is where do publishers fit in this as far as what is the decision for trying to go after a publisher rather than venture capital? And you already answered that, so.
Cool.
Any last questions?
Come on, this one hard. Give me something hard.
Stumper, right? I'll give you $5 right now if you can stumper. All right, here we go.
I'm not the stumper.
Give me $5.
So I come from the film industry, and I'm just curious when the game industry is going to have the discussion of why these games need 10 million. I mean, so recently I wrote a piece about Gree, and no offense to Gree, but they're making games that are, mid-core RPG. They're the equivalent of Flash games that came out for the past 10 years, and they have 400 employees in just San Francisco. Why? Like, what are those 400 employees doing? And I'm curious, like,
why are we videoing this thing? We should not video this in future.
and like, I want to make it perfectly clear. Like, I hold no grudge against Gree. The people that work there are great people with a lot of talent. But why do you have 400 employees?
You know what? You and I should talk offline about this. I have my own thoughts on why. But was there a follow-up part to that question?
Well, yeah, like why do we need, the average investment of, 9.6 million or whatever last year? Why do we need investments that big in
Green,
a lot of mobile games?
So Green, by the way, was already publicly traded. Before they came into the U.S.
Yeah.
The 9.6 number, it was just to make a point of, hey guys, it's larger investment sizes, but it's not an accurate first venture round. Right? But yeah, I understand. Like, why does they have 400 people? And what are those 400 people doing?
For instance, from the film industry, if we can make District 9 for 30 million, we can make Moon for 5 million. Why does something else that is comparable in scale cost 150 million when you get into the film industry in Hollywood? The same sort of thing with some of these mobile games. I have friends that make mobile games, in their garage for no pay whatsoever.
So the Green part of your question, let's talk about that later. But in general, coming back to this, right?
Yeah.
The venture investment that this analysis covered is people actually paying for efficiency and scale. So there are already metrics and numbers they're seeing for the companies they're investing in, saying, okay, this is how much it costs them to go acquire a user. And that cost of discovery has been going up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why, the investment sizes at venture are also going up, is because most of that is for distribution.
So think of it in movie terms. The first two dots are you're making your movie, you need money to make it. The last two dots are I'm done making my movie, I need to market it now, using millions of dollars to market it.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that I understand, but eventually you're pricing yourself out, because we're talking about, like console games and how they're such a risky investment because they cost $50 million.
But no, there's another reason why they're risky. The other reason why they're risky is at console, you actually don't have the numbers attraction-wise that allows venture to come in. That's the reason why venture in general so until 3 years ago, venture capitalists did not like game investments. Games were called the red-headed stepchild of business.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason was because no one could show them any traction numbers and say, these are my unit economics and this is why I need your money for growth, right? And that was console. Console drove that. So the only folks you could work with were the bigger console publishers who really screwed all of the people in this room, which is why you're all making mobile games now. Okay, any 2 questions? Trevor, first.
I guess my question was really around the characteristics of seed investors. So, I think of angels as like a very rich individual. I think of venture capital funds as a group of individuals who have LPs, and it's a very formal type structure. But how are you defining seed?
Seed could be anyone, man. It could be your mom. So seed is friends, family, people people who believe in you and your vision. Have seen you, maybe followed you over several years of your career, and say, okay, you're selling me this, you're telling me you're going to build a big company on it, I'm going to bet on you.
Sorry, does Kickstarter's that kind of seed?
No, but it's not really seed, it's something outside of the ecosystem, because it's basically you selling to the consumer. But for the purposes of this, I just pull them out and say,
sure.
I have a question for you.
Are there funds that exist in the gaming industry that do more early stage?
So there are 2.
Your traditional
You know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I do, but I was to flesh it out a little bit.
So there are 2 or 3 funds within gaming that come in at the earlier level. They may still say to you, they say earlier level, I think it's to just get all the meetings they possibly can.
Right.
In terms of actual deals done by that fund, those few funds, very few deals actually done, and those that have been done have diluted the founders considerably and made the founders lose a lot of control. So it's up to you whether you want to take, you want to consider taking deals like that. But essentially, like, just work on the product, get the product successful before you actually like go into this entire ball game. That's something we don't think about. We think, oh, let's go raise money so we can pay our people. No, you should keep working with the bootstrap, get friends and family, whatever, to get a product out there. You should only be raising money for growth.
I'm going to be an audience member.
No, there's one more question there.
Well, he'd love to.
No, but you're done? You're not asking a question? What? No, you can't give it to him.
You do it. I can't. Sorry.
Wouldn't the stuff with the backends and everything account for a lot of the cost in the, you were comparing it to the 100,000 versus like the movie industry that's like 30,000. You would release the movie, you don't really have like.
Is this for him or for me?
I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, is it related to that? Why there's larger investments in the game?
I'm not sure I follow the question.
To clarify, he's wanting to know
If back-end stuff like servers and stuff can account for
is that where
the
a lot of the costs
large
are?
investments of venture capitalists.
Listen, venture capitalists, there are two reasons, right? One is whatever the founders want to have a large cushion of cash to grow and get to their goals for Series A financing so they can raise a Series B, right? So they're always cushioning whatever amount of money they think is going to, like, next 12 to 18 months, what I need to achieve so that I can get a Series B. They're cushioning and factoring it up because the market's evolving and they believe the prices will go up, right? The other thing is the economics of a venture capital fund are such that they need you to make they have a lot of money that they need to spread, right? And they want to make sure that they put enough money for a company to survive and then be able to double down on that, and then that company have a really, really big exit. So sometimes there's some venture capitalist firm, even you say like, I need 5 million, they're like, shit, that's too small for me, I can't do 5 million. You sure you don't want 20? That can actually be a conversation if they really, really, really like you and they really believe in the success of your business.
I'll take a quick stab at that one. The back-end costs are relatively small compared to the cost of user acquisition. The cost of marketing user acquisition is astronomically high compared to the back-end costs.
And also back-end cost, there are a bunch of solutions out there that are coming out to make your back-end costs for server size elastic. And so I think around GDC at the various events we have here, you're probably going to see more of those guys saying, this is how we work, this is why we actually cover all those issues you may have, and like, oh shit, I have to plan for 1 million users, and what if that changes?
Well, my big thing was for him is that there's when you create a movie, I mean, you just market it, but it's there. Like you still with games, it involves a lot more because I mean, there's a lot of data that's possible because it's kind of like living in a sense.
Yes, definitely. Live, free-to-play game. That's why we're even having this conversation. And that's why venture capitalists came in, right? If you had a movie and it's gone and it's shipped and then you find